Providence musicians, this is a video about how to compose your own song. Now, I am not a composer, but I know a lot about music, and I can give you some basic tools that will help you get started on writing out your own music. These are some just basic things, but of course you can get a lot more technical if you want. So go ahead and send me an email or a chat on Microsoft Teams if you have any questions or want to go a little bit further. Hopefully by the time we are done with this video, you will feel a little bit more confident that you are going to be able to compose a song with no problem. Remember also that not all of us are super good at composing, and some of us it comes a little bit more naturally. So don't worry if it takes you a little bit of time. It doesn't mean you're a bad composer, it just means you haven't done this very much. And if it goes quickly and it's easy for you, great. Maybe that's something that you can do as a hobby. So today what we're going to do is I'm going to give you about 8 tips, and if you want, you can write these down. If you don't want to listen to my video again, you can write it. Also, what you should have is some staff paper, and you can you're hopefully going to get that from me, but you can also find that it's really easy to find online somewhere to download. If you don't have staff paper, you can even draw your own lines for now. Okay, so first, when you start to compose a song, you have to decide what your song is going to be about. And again, the order of these steps can be shuffled around. You don't have to go in this precise order, but you need to know what are you going to be playing your instrument about or singing about. So if you're in band, by the way, this is what you would play on your instrument. You wouldn't sing this, but you can think about some basic things that we know a lot of the songs that we do at Providence are about animals. A lot of them are about death, but I don't suggest you go that far in a negative way. Nature, activities that you like to do, retelling an event, and think about any of the songs that we've done for our Christmas and spring concerts and the themes there. Right now, you're hopefully in a situation where you'll have a lot of good ideas because a lot of us are at home and we're encountering things that maybe we haven't encountered before, like how to get along with our family members better, or maybe you're noticing the flowers more, or maybe you're just kind of sad and you're missing your friends. So any of those are game. That's the first thing. The second thing is to decide if you're going to be happy or sad or somewhere in the middle. Usually sad songs are in minor, and if you don't know what a minor song sounds like, for singers it would be starting on low la. And if you are thinking about band instruments, you can look at the back of your book for any of your minor songs, and that will give you a key signature to work with, and also just the main notes that you want to be focusing on, like what you're going to end the song on. Usually you're going to end the song on the note that is the key of your song. So if I'm in the key of C, I'm going to end on C. If I'm in the key of E, I'm going to end on E. So keep that in mind. Whatever key you're going to be in is going to be usually the note you end on. The next step is to choose your speed. Do you want it to be slow? Do you want it to be medium speed? Do you want it to be fast? A lot of metronomes, including ones that you would find on a phone app, say what the metronome speed is called. So if let's say you put in 100 on your metronome, it will say moderato. Many of the handheld devices, the older kinds of metronomes, the ones that you can have a dial or even one of those long stems that you pull the weight down and it goes back and forth, they will say what the names of those tempos are. You can also look in the back of your band book, band students. There's a glossary there with lots of tempos. Okay, decide your tempo, and then we're going to put stuff on the paper. You're going to have the basic components. So that's the next step, is to have the basic things on your music. Okay, so If you want some help, singers can go and look in your music folder for any songs. Look online for sheet music, and you can see how it looks. Look in your band book, band students, for how a song looks. Okay, so let's go over some of the main components. First of all is your clef sign. You need your clef sign to go all the way down the left side of the song. If you are a low instrument, you're going to use bass clef. If you are upper, like woodwind or trumpet or tenor sax, you're going to use treble clef. French horn is going to use treble clef. Trombones, you're going to use bass clef. Percussionists, you're going to use treble clef because bells are treble clef. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to use treble clef today. And if you don't know how to draw a treble clef, it's really easy. You start below the staff and you do a little curly Q. Almost like a D, I guess. And then you're going to go straight up. Then you're going to loop to the right and then cross over the line and come back down. You're going to make your loop look kind of like a, sort of like you're trying to draw an oval. And then you're going to finish the loop above the staff line slightly, where F would be. Then you're going to come down around and make sort of a curve like that so that you can make a snail back, a little loop-de-doo-de-doo. It's not called that, but that's what I do. And you're going to loop around the G line. So you're going to come around, and there you go. That's kind of ugly, but you get better at it. So you're going to draw that all the way down, and just because I go fast, sometimes I don't get all the little specifics in there, and that's all right. Okay, you got your clef sign there. Now you're going to figure out, and of course you can do these out of order, your title. So what is my title going to be called? How about Corona Madness? Okay, Corona Madness. I don't want to stay at home anymore. Let's say you're feeling that way. Okay, put your title up there. You also need a tempo. A tempo tells you the speed of music. The tempo goes up over the left corner of the music. And I've decided this is going to be sad, and so probably slow. So I'm going to make my tempo andante. And remember to spell your musical terms correctly. The glossary, again, is good for that. All right, I also need to choose my starting dynamic. I'm doing a sad song. I'm going to start kind of soft, so I'm going to say mezzo piano. Okay, and I have to put my name at the top right corner. So because I don't have a lot of space, I'm going to say Mrs. S. And now I need my time signature and my key signature. Okay, so let's go with our time signature first. The time signature does not go all the way down like the clef does, and the key signature. Time signature is only up at the first measure. Now, if you change the time signature in the middle of the song, that's something different. All right, so I'm going to make mine really easy. It's going to be in 4/4 time. All right, now, choosing the key signature. The key signature is what your scale is. So if you want to use the key of B flat, then you would put 2 flats up there. So use your scale book to figure out what key signature you're supposed to use, and make sure that you put your sharps and your flats in the right place, exactly how you see it in the scale book. If I'm a singer, right now, probably the key of C would be easiest, which doesn't have any sharps or flats. But for purposes of band students, I'm going to write this in the key of D minor, and D minor has concert B flat. It has the 2 flats in the key signature. Okay, so I'm going to do a flat on B and a flat on E flat, and I'm going to go all the way down. Okay, just a side note, some of you smarty pants want to know the order of sharps and flats. If you want to do sharps, you have to write them in this order: F, G, C, D, A, E, B. If you're writing flats, you go B, E, A, D, G, C, F. Okay. Now, I have my key signature all the way down. It looks pretty good. I'm going to write about Corona Madness, and then I get going. Now, you notice I haven't put my measure lines in. That's because it depends on what kinds of rhythms that I'm using and how much room I need. If I have a lot of black, like, 4 ticka-tickas in a row or something like that, which I don't recommend, by the way, and I'll get to that later, then I'm going to need more space. So what you can do is at the very end of your staff line, draw a measure line there, because you will have to finish the measure at the end. So my song looks like it's going to probably be 2 measures each. So I'll probably draw a measure somewhere in the middle here. Remember that when you end your song, you need a thin line and a thick line. Okay, I don't advise changing keys or changing time signatures in the middle of your song, because this song is only going to be between 8 and 12 measures long. Okay, did I forget anything? Dynamics, title, name, tempo. I think I've got everything. I talked about your song being 8 to 12 measures. That's the next thing. And then the next thing is the form. And we're going to use ABA form. Now, A represents a musical melody or statement. B represents another one, only different. A represents the first one. So, a good example of a song with ABA form is Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. That's A. And then you go to the next part. Up above the sky so high, or the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. And then you go back to A. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Now, when you go from A and you finish with A, you can tweak the last part of your A to sound like you're ending the song. Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star is great because A is exactly the same front and back. Now, if you have 8 measures or 12 measures, think about how you're going to evenly disperse them. You can't make your A 8 measures, because then you're going to have a lopsided song and a very short B, and you'll run out of room, obviously. So make sure that your A theme is short and sweet and to the point. Which brings me to the last couple of steps. Okay, you've got your song figured out in your head. Now we got to put it on paper. Stay simple. That is the biggest rule, hopefully, to remember out of all of these today. If you are trying to be too complicated and thinking, I got to use all the rhythms that I know, I got to use all the pitches in the scale, your song is going to sound really busy and probably uninteresting. There's very few composers out there that can make a beautiful song with just crazy all kinds of rhythms and all kinds of crazy pitches in, all of them being used at the same time. So I would encourage you to use as few as possible. If you make your whole song on ta, ti, ti, and tu with some rests, perfect, because you're staying simple. If you want to throw in some ticka-tickas, ti-tickas, just do so sparingly. Tom-tees are really good to use. And so your main thing that you want to do when you're figuring out the rhythms to your songs is to use a metronome. Okay, let's say my song goes da 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 da. Well, I don't know what I'm going to write down on my staff for rhythms unless I have a metronome going. So try to sing your song first, or play your song on your instrument, either way, to a beat that's going. And make sure that you have your notes connected to that beat, right? So you want to sing it like this. Da 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 da, because then you can figure out how many sounds on how many beats. If you don't stay with the metronome, then you're going to be lost. For example, let's say the metronome's doing this and you sing it da 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 da. You're not going to have any idea what to write. So make sure that you make your rhythm stay with the beat that you want. Okay? So you can map out your rhythm if you want. Maybe you want to go Ta, ti, 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 ticka, ta. Maybe you want to write that down underneath your song, underneath your staff, and then figure out what the pitches are, okay? You don't have to figure out rhythms first, pitches first, whatever comes to you is fine. But the main goal is to stay simple, okay? And make sure you're starting with using a metronome all the time. All right, that's basically it. I hope that you've gotten a lot of good information and you feel confident getting started. Again, if you have any questions, please email me, ask me. I'm more than happy to help. And use your band book. Use the songs that you remember from singing in choir to maybe give you some ideas. Of course, you don't want to be copying or sounding just like another song that you know, so be careful of doing that. You don't want to do that. Okay, have a really good time composing, and I look forward to hearing what you're going to do.